Will be held in Joining under the theme Protecting Children from Tobacco Industry Interference. From Joining, we're joined by Ms. Tefo Senwelo, who's the Public Relations Officer from the Anti-Tobacco Network, to talk about how the tobacco industry is manipulating young people, especially children, how society contributes to children smoking, and policies put in place to protect children. Ms. Senwelo, good morning, and thank you so much for joining us.
Good morning, and thanks for having me.
Absolutely. Let's take it from the top and just, understand how the tobacco industry is manipulating young people, especially children.
The tobacco industry is famous for using tactics. So in this instance, they use packaging that is more appealing to young children, or even placement of tobacco products, very placed next to toys, to stationery that these young kids use. And some of them, I think, as we grow up, we saw tobacco products or sweets that are made in a form of tobacco. So, and we go at the tip there in a bush Yes.
Right. So what are we talking in terms of the products that we see that are in Botswana? When we say tobacco products, what exactly are we referring to? I know you're talking about some of the toys that entice children, but in terms of the actual products, what are we talking about exactly?
We have vape pens or e-cigarettes. So those ones, most of the time, are placed in a form of an eye-level placement, mushable. Like in a form where how did they buy the way that please some form of attraction. And as well as we enter restaurants, most of the time places with happy bubbly they come with flavoring. They make them more enticing. Or even in social media, there's products such as happy bubbly or vape pens that are advertised on your social media, your Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok.
Right. And talking about social media, I'm trying to figure out then what the regulatory frameworks would look like in that regard, because we, like you say, TikTok is big currently. We have followers that have many, we have, TikTok personalities that have many followers that are young people especially, and they are seen now, making smoking look really, really cool. Are there any frameworks that we have in the country that regulate all of that?
Botswana has passed on the Tobacco Control Act in 2021. So the Ministry of Health is currently working on the regulations that support those laws, the laws. So it's on its final stages of completing with the regulations, and sooner the act will be implemented. Mm-hmm. So we have a policy that speaks to tobacco licensing. So tobacco licensing would mean if Elin next to Nanokhang, and they want a license to sell tobacco. That license limits access. Who is the target market?
Right.
So there's also a policy that speaks to the ban of public smoking, because our children are secondary smokers. So the ban public smoking or access their.
Mm-hmm, right. And we also understand that society plays a significant role also in, encouraging these tendencies that we're here advocating against. Now, how does society take part in advancing opportunities for children to smoke? Maybe acclimatize us to that phenomenon.
Usually, at home, we have a tuck shop. A child as young as 9 years old is selling, and that is access. We to buy for our uncles, our fathers, that is also encouraging young kids to have access to tobacco. So I think those are some of the examples that I would give in terms of society taking part in tobacco interference.
Right. And how does Botswana fare in the region and in Africa in terms of ensuring that a tobacco industry does not interfere with the lives of children? You spoke about the frameworks that the government has, put in place earlier. Maybe just, help us understand this fraction of the situation as well.
So there's tobacco Industry Interference Index report, which was released in 2023. by all African countries. And Botswana came to be the first country which means the way the tobacco industry interferes in Botswana, it's really monitored and regulated. It's really monitored by Minister of Health or your anti-tobacco network. So I think we are really doing well in terms of monitoring the tobacco industry. And the government, they are alert on the tactics that the tobacco industry uses. So they use forms such as sponsoring, funder, the government ministry or scholarships. So the government has been monitoring, and interference is very, very low.
Right. Let's talk about, the role that you are here representing the anti-tobacco network. What role do you think the organization is playing to assist in the scourge of child smoking?
As anti-tobacco, we are trying to eliminate the scourge of consumption or disinformation that the tobacco industry is putting out there. So we are doing that through public education. We go to schools and even corporates have an animal wellness day. They invite us and then we educate that people. We also offer cessation, which is like therapy for people who are trying to quit smoking. We also do research that informs these decisions or these policies that are put in place. And lastly, we train civil society organizations that are based in rural areas or even in urban areas to try and make them understand the latest trends that the tobacco industry has put in place, new products that they are using, and also how we can work together as stakeholders in trying to mitigate this problem.
Right. We're clean out of time, and just as we wrap up, I'd like to understand, we're talking to you all the way from Joining, where you're commemorating World No Tobacco Day. What exactly are the activities that one can look out for as ways to also advance this notion that we're pushing for this year's commemoration?
We are having a walk from within Joining. There will be stalls at the field fair, and also information all around about tobacco and testing as well of tobacco. So come along and join us today in Joining.
All right. Thank you so much for your time this morning. Have a great one. All right. We're in conversation this morning with Tefo Senwelo, who's the Public Relations Officer of the Anti-Tobacco Network. Today is the celebration or commemoration of the World No Tobacco Day that's going on out in Joining. Look out for news coming up at the top of the hour.
So we specifically wanted to have a workshop here because we thought younger generations being trained in culinary arts will